Welcome to the deep dive. So you flagged something really interesting for us this time. An article looking at Mel Robbins' book, Let Them. The leadership lesson you didn't know you needed?
Yeah.
That title alone, it kind of grabs you, doesn't it? Let them.
It really does, because, leadership often feels like it should be about guiding, directing, being involved.
Exactly. Hands-on.
Right. So this whole let them thing, it suggests something else entirely.
So what are we diving into here? What's the core idea?
Well, we're exploring what letting them actually looks like. It's not about being totally hands-off, not about abandoning people.
Okay.
It's more of a specific, deliberate way to help people grow. Build their own skills, whether that's in your team at work or even just like collaborating on something.
Right. Because my first thought, and probably a lot of people's when you hear let them, is, hang on, isn't my job to make sure things go right? To, steer the ship?
Absolutely. That's the default, isn't it? The article mentions this too, how the author initially felt that leadership was control, that it equaled accountability, ownership.
Yeah, keeping a tight grip. It feels responsible.
It does. It comes from a good place, wanting things to succeed, wanting to avoid problems. But the article shares this really great story, an anecdote where that exact instinct, that need to control, it actually backfired.
Yeah, the I thought I was helping bit. I remember reading that.
Exactly.
She talks about a team member who was, struggling a bit. And her reaction was just jump in, take over tasks, fix the mistakes, kind of shield them from the fallout.
Yeah, smooth things over.
Totally. And I think, many of us have been there, right? You see someone floundering and the urge is just, let me fix it.
Oh, definitely. It feels quicker, more efficient, maybe. In the moment, anyway, you see a problem, you know the answer, so you just do it.
Right.
But the big realization for the author, and this is key, was that by constantly stepping in, she was like stealing the learning opportunity.
Stealing it. That's a strong way to put it.
Yeah. Every fix was one less chance for that person to figure it out themselves, to build that problem-solving muscle. Have you ever caught yourself doing that? That instinct to just handle it?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, tweaking a presentation slide, rewriting a sentence in an email, thinking, I'm just making it a bit better. But reading this, it makes you think, hang on, was I actually helping them learn, or was I just making it my way?
Exactly. That's the tension, isn't it? And the article gives these great prompts for self-reflection.
Okay, like what?
Things like, do you check work too much? Or do you jump into conversations to steer them? Or even correcting really minor stuff just because it's not how you do it.
Those little things. Easy to justify, right? I'm just being thorough, maintaining standards.
Totally. You could frame it positively.
Yeah.
But the article argues that, consistently doing that stuff, it can actually backfire. Well, the team can become kind of passive, waiting for your input, maybe hesitant to try things on their own. They don't develop that initiative.
Because they know you'll probably change it anyway.
Perhaps. Or they just get used to you being the safety net. And for the leader, it's just exhausting. You end up doing bits of everyone's job.
Yeah, that sounds like a recipe for burnout. And then you get frustrated thinking, why isn't anyone stepping up?
Exactly. And the article suggests maybe, just maybe, it's because you haven't given them the space to step up. But, and this is super important.
Okay.
The article really stresses that letting them is not the same as giving up or abandoning them. It's not neglect.
Right. It's not just throwing them in the deep end with no support.
No, not at all. It's about allowing the attempt without interfering unnecessarily. It's a specific kind of stepping back.
Okay, so what does that look like? Give me some examples.
Well, the article mentions things like letting someone else lead a tricky meeting, even if you think, ooh, I'm not sure about their plan.
Okay, that takes some trust.
It does. Or letting someone actually miss a deadline if the stakes aren't catastrophic, obviously.
Oof, that's hard.
It is. Letting them experience the natural consequence instead of you swooping in to rescue it. Or letting them write that email in their own style, even if it's not perfect to you.
So letting them feel the bumps in the road a little.
Yeah, because that discomfort, that didn't go quite right, that's often a much better teacher than you constantly smoothing the path. If you always fix it, they don't really feel the impact of their own choices.
That makes sense. So, okay, if you manage to do this, to step back a bit, what are the upsides?
Well, the article points to a few big ones. First, ownership. Like real ownership. When people navigate things themselves, make the calls, they feel way more invested.
Right. It becomes their success or their learning experience.
Exactly. And second, huge for the leader, is you get your time back. All that energy spent overseeing, correcting.
Micromanaging, basically.
Yeah, often it is that time can go into, actual strategic thinking, leading from a clearer headspace, not buried in the details.
And I think the article mentioned something about teams surprising you.
Oh, definitely. When you create that space, when people aren't constantly under the microscope, they can really step up, show skills you didn't even know they had. You stop being the ceiling for their development.
Okay, I'm seeing the potential benefits. But how do you actually start doing this? It feels like a big shift.
It can be, but the article gives some really practical first steps, small things.
Good. Practical is good. What are they?
Okay, first one. Just pick one thing. One task or responsibility you currently handle for someone that you could reasonably let them own completely. Start small.
Okay, one thing, manageable.
Yep. Second step, before you jump in to help or fix, just pause. Ask yourself, do they really need me right now, or do I just feel better being in control?
That self-check, that could be revealing.
Totally. It's about breaking that reflex. And third, if things do go wrong, which they might.
Because learning involves mistakes sometimes.
Exactly. Instead of that I knew it vibe, try asking, okay, what did you learn from that? Frame it as data, as experience, not failure.
Shifting the focus to learning. I like that.
Yeah, it fosters that growth mindset stuff. And the article wraps this part up by saying, look, letting go like this, it's not weak leadership, it's actually strong. It shows trust.
So the core message really is, if you're doing everything, the team learns. Well, nothing really.
Pretty much. You're the bottleneck. Let them. Is about actively creating that room for them to grow, to take ownership, to become leaders themselves.
Removing yourself as the limit.
You got it. And then there's the challenge, right? Directly to the listener.
Yeah, what was that again?
It was basically, this week, try it. Pull back from just one thing. One decision you'd normally make, one meeting you'd usually lead, one task you'd oversee closely.
Just one experiment.
Yep. See what happens. Observe.
It's definitely a different way to think about effectiveness. And those other related article titles mentioned, what if you're the reason your team isn't growing? That hits hard.
Right. And stuck under the microscope, handling micromanagement, it all points back to this theme.
Yeah, and from imposter to impact. Maybe part of impact is knowing when not to intervene.
Could be. It suggests that maybe, just maybe, our own leadership habits are sometimes the biggest barrier to our team's potential. Micromanagement is pretty much the polar opposite of let them, isn't it?
Clearly.
Yeah.
So, okay, the big takeaway seems to be this surprising strength in stepping back. It's not about less leadership, but maybe a different kind of leadership, one focused on enabling others.
Precisely. Doing less in a very intentional way to achieve more through others.
Which brings us to that final thought to leave people with.
Yeah, building on that challenge. What if, the biggest impact you can have, maybe not just at work, but with your kids or someone you're mentoring.
Okay.
What if the biggest gift is actually creating that space, intentionally letting them navigate, letting them learn on their own terms? Where might we be accidentally limiting people or even ourselves by not letting them?
That's a really powerful question to sit with. Definitely gives you a new perspective on how we interact and lead. Hopefully this dive into letting them has sparked some useful thoughts for everyone listening.
Hope so too. It's a simple phrase, but there's a lot packed into it.